Greetings. Thanks for stopping by. Health and happiness to you. I'm Skol, and today we're looking at the Backwoods FixEDC from JWK Knives. It's part of their Kollab series, JWK Kollab, and it's called the Backwoods FixEDC, named after Melissa Backwoods. She's one of the big celebrities of the knife world. She has a big YouTube channel with way over 1 million subscribers right now. It's currently January 2026. And this artwork on the box was designed by Sean Tiffany. While we're mentioning him, I'll just show his picture. Here's his website, so that's his picture of the artist. And one thing I noticed about the artwork, it's got this Laura Croft outdoor adventure theme going on. And I'm sure you know Melissa Backwoods, big celebrity, but here's some pictures of her. And this picture right here holding the knife that she designed with JWK. So here's the titanium one that we're going to be looking at, and that is Melissa Backwoods. But look at the hairstyle that they did on the artist. I noticed this little detail, if we can get them lined up. So see how she has two wisps coming down off her forehead? And on the artwork, you can see those two wisps. And then you can see the two big braids, and it's got that too. So the hairstyle that she had at the time of this collab, they even worked those details into the artwork. So I thought that was some good attention to detail. Put this away and finish looking at the box. JWK Knives, Backwoods FixEDC, and then here on the back you got Melissa Backwoods logo with a M and a B, JWK. And then this is the titanium starburst version of the Backwoods. There were 3 other versions. There was a True Blood, and then there was a abalone, and there was a carbon fiber option also. So the titanium was actually the most popular. Actually, let's finish looking at the box. So one thing about the size of this box, it's very similar to an old VHS tape. If you were born after the year 2000, you might not know about that, but before DVDs, everything was on a VHS tape, and the size of this box is pretty similar. Plus, when you slide it out, it's just like opening approximately the same size. So that brings back some nostalgia for some older people. And nice box, nice artwork, and all that was in the box on this version was a leather sheath and the knife. So let's move on. You'll notice there's another knife here. So I ended up getting a second knife because I got this. This is my first JWK knife. This is the Backwoods FixEDC. Comes with this sheath, and then this one is called the Benny's Clip, and it's also in titanium starburst, and it came with a pocket slip. So let's look here at some details. We got a S90V fixed blade, and then you got a integral bolster and liner, the bronze colored. That's actually titanium that's been anodized into bronze color, and then the torque screws are also titanium, bronze color anodized, but then the scale is normal color titanium, and then you have milled starburst pattern into it, and then there's a little bit of a contour to that, just like the pocket knife has a contour. Look how these match up pretty good. Same pattern, same anodized bronze color, and then look how nice the liners look on that. So you got your S90V full tang. So we're actually talking about a fixed blade here. Full tang plus your anodized liner plus titanium scale held by 2 torque screw pins. And it's JWK laser etched right there. And then on the other side it says S90V. Then you got a clip point and a hollow grind. Let's get some measurements. So you got a 3-inch blade and 2 3/4 inch cutting edge, and your overall length is 6 and a quarter, 6 1/4, and then your handle length, where you put your fingers, all the way up to that notch, 3 inches even. And that's about as low as you can go to get. I wear large size gloves, and I can get all 4. You got to get right up to that little notch there, find that notch, easy to do, and then you can get all 4 fingers on there. One thing I learned about my fingers while I was playing with this knife, since you're all the way to the end here, I tried pulling my pinky off, and it's kind of, when I curl my fingers in, you can try this on your own hand. Normally you can flex your fingers, but when you curl them in, it becomes solid like a rock. You can't really tug your pinky finger away. So I talk about having your pinky fall off. It can't even move because of the tendons. That's something I knew I learned about my own finger. But anyway, when you walk your finger all the way up to that edge there, and then you find your grip. This is a fixed blade, and it's got a nice width to it. So let's go ahead and check the caliper on that. Turn it on, give it a tear, and then we got stock thickness 1.175, so that's 3 millimeters. Do it again. Yeah, 1.18. That's exactly 3 millimeters. When you do calipers, you notice that 1.18 is often a reading, because that comes out to exactly 3 millimeters. So you see that reading a lot when you do the calipers. So you got a little lanyard, and there's a bead that is also the bronze anodized. And let's get a weight. I'm pretty sure it was 2.4 ounces. We'll check it again. 2.44, if you round up there. 2.44 ounces. So that's pretty lightweight. Under 3 ounces is pretty light for any pocket knife. So this is a fixed blade. Pretty light. The design inspirations were from Melissa Backwoods. She had an old steak knife, and she had a couple of things she wanted to incorporate. She wanted it to look kind of like the steak knife with this ramp up, just the slightest bit of ramp up. And by the way, when you're holding it there, you can kind of feel how it ramps up. It kind of gives you a little bit of extra leverage when you go like that with your thumb. You can really push there. And then, so she wanted to design it after the steak knife. She also wanted it to have the look of a folding knife while being a fixed blade, but still look like it's a folding knife. And I think they pulled that off because they got the bolster look that you often see on pocket knives. So it does look like a pocket knife at first glance. So you can choke up. Another thing that kind of grabs your eye, just because maybe seems like they went a little bit high on the sharpening choil. I think that catches most people's eye. I don't think that's a problem at all. You have plenty of thickness and girth there, that's not going to be like a weak spot. And how much leverage can you really put on a smaller knife anyway? So this is a good EDC size. You probably can't go any, or the most compact you can go on a handle and still get a full 4 fingers grip. I actually got to put this in my hand before I bought it, and that's the main thing I wanted to check, is can I get all 4 fingers? So I wouldn't have bought it if I couldn't get all 4 fingers. Because I wondered, sometimes they'll make a smaller knife and they'll give you a lanyard to hold on. I don't like that. I want all 4 fingers on the handle, and you do get that with this. And let's look at the sheath. When you look at pocket knives, you usually talk about how it opens and closes and locks and the action and all that. But with a fixed blade, you have to talk about the sheath. So as you can see, it's got thick thread, looks quality, a good stamp, you got nice thickness. Here, I got another example here. Here's a thick, high quality, thick Botero from traditional pocket knives. You can see the leather is real thick like that. It has a nice, sturdy, thick feel to it. And the stitching looks quality, just like the TPK stitching. So good quality stitching. On bigger knives, something when I review fixed blades with like Bowies, one of the things you look for on a sheath is double stitching. But on a smaller one, if you have good quality stitching and good thick leather like that, then I'm 100% certain this will hold up, and I'm 100% certain that will hold up. So good quality, good appearance. And then let's talk about the belt clip. So I do have a belt here. My normal belt that I wear is 1.5 inches normal. I just grabbed one. I have different belts. This one is a Dickies brand, but you can see it's a nice thick leather, which is what I usually wear most of the time. And then here you got plenty of room. I'm going to show you. It'll slide right in there for 1.5 inch belt. And then there's retention spring. It has nice sturdy clip. And then there's also another little tab there. If you can see that additional tab, that helps it to not ride off of the belt. So your belt will catch into that little tab and it'll keep it from sliding out under. So now we'll slide through and show you it fits. So here's a normal 1.5 inch belt, and I'll show you the measurements. Actually, I measured it. It was just under 1.5 inches. If you can see that, almost 1.5 inches, but 1.5 inches wide is what I usually buy. I think this was probably advertised as 1.5 inches, but you can see there's still more. There's probably another 1/4 inch more room that you could go up. So the belt is in there, and there's still room to spare. So 1.5 inches definitely would fit, and we're getting an easy slide in there. So no problem with that. And as you can see, there's a rivet here. So it looks like I looked down in there with the flashlight and I couldn't see the metal. So, and as you can see, there's a spacer layer of leather on the sides. So the stitching actually goes through 3 layers of leather. And then you have this additional sleeve which encases the metal, and then there's a rivet which I think is inside the sleeve. So that's just pinning the metal to this top layer sleeve, but the metal, I don't think, it doesn't seem to be inside where it could scratch your blade. So that I don't think is touching on the inside. As far as I could tell looking down there, you can't see it. So that seems to be how they did that. But having it pinned there, that helps keep it from sliding out the top and gives it a nice sturdy, well-constructed belt. 2 other things I would normally say about sheaths is usually a leather sheath or a nylon sheath will have a guard that kind of sticks out and prevents the knife from going in. This doesn't have that, and so you're not going to be parachuting with this. So if you did get enough force, like you were rolling in combat, you could shove that up. But with this type of knife, which is more of a premium dress wear, just don't take this parachuting. I think this will be just fine. So good sheath, good belt clip, any 1.5 inch leather belt, that should work. When I actually bought this knife, I was thinking I would use it like my other fixed blade EDCs. For example, here's one of the ones I have, a budget one. Here's Ned Foss, I think it's called the Raven. And I picked this one out to show you because it's similar to the first collab that Melissa Backwoods did with TCal. It was kind of this shape that had, she called the first one a Warren EDC, but those sold out and I didn't get one. and then it had customizable options to get the ring or not. So with the ring, this kind of looks like her first collab, and those sold out really fast. And I believe the Backwoods is also sold out, so you get the Melissa Backwoods boost on sales. When she does collabs, they sell out. Anyway, what I was saying about this is my other fixed blade EDCs, they all have Kydex sheaths, and I take, if there's a belt attachment or a clip, I take it off, and I just let them slide down in my pants, and at this length, they completely conceal in my normal cargo pants, so they're not visible, slides down in. If I wanted to play it, I just reach down into my pocket, and I can push off the sheath with my thumb, use the knife, and it's a little fast deploy. But if I want to put it back in my pocket, I have to fish the sheath out and then reseat it, resheath it, and then drop it down in my pocket again. So that's the normal way that I do pocket fixed blades EDC. And this one is actually filling a different niche. I'm calling it a premium belt carry, which I didn't have before. So that's filling out my collection into a new category, premium belt carry. And then I had this out a second ago. This is actually a Jack Wolf knife inside there. That's one of the new big timber ones. And this was a custom size sheath available at TPK, traditionalpocketknives.com. So a review will be coming for this later. And on this other knife I was showing that is kind of a matching set, I do have a full tabletop review on that if you want to go check it out. So I'm getting caught up on all the videos I promised to do. So there's also a short you might have seen that I put out called Wolf Tracks, and I did a little skit, which I think was funny, to introduce the Backwoods, so you can go check that out as well. So we've finished doing the weight. It was 2.4 ounces. The stock thickness, 3 millimeters, or 0.118 inches. And we did the measurements. All the measurements fit your hand, has good ergonomics. What about a fixed blade? What are the advantages compared to any pocket knife? Well, slip joints are actually stronger than modern knives, because when you bear down on a sturdy slip joint like this, and the pressure rotates radially around the pivot, and all of it goes into the heel and into the back spring, and then it's held by the center stop pin. And on other modern knives, they'll have a stop pin usually a lot closer to the pivot. But that, no matter where you put the stop pin or the pivot, having a fixed blade is significantly stronger than that. So you're getting a lot more strength. You could bear down on this, no problem. You get a lot more strength with any fixed blades. That's one of the advantage of having a fixed blade. And then with this S90V premium steel with high edge retention, you'll get a lot of use before you ever have to sharpen this. So those are some of the advantages for having this. And if you want to have a premium carry on your belt, then this is a good option. So while I got this laying out, I got this separately. So it's just a Jack Wolf sticker, wicked sharp, and it's got the website name for Jack Wolf's. And this over here, that's a wolf pendant, but it's from the Netflix Witcher. He wears that. And my name's Skol, and this was a review of the Backwoods FixEDC Kollab with Jack Wolf. So I hope you enjoyed it. Come back later, check out my other videos. Thanks for watching, and remember, always carry a knife.